like the artworks that are in here are all from the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So it's a pandemic sketchbook, basically. I made a collection of my sketches once, like a tiny book. On the back of it, it said, "My brush pen is my therapist."
When people see your sketchbook, what's their reaction?
Let me think. I think they are usually surprised, and I don't know why. I think they expect something different from me, and they are always amused because I draw a lot of funny things. And they also always ask if I draw myself all the time. But maybe sometimes I come off as a little bit insecure, and then they think, probably her art is like medium, and then they open it and they, oh, she's actually good. I hope that's that.
How old is this sketchbook?
It is not that old, so I bought it at THU, 2 years ago, I guess. And my thing is, I always buy a ton of sketchbooks if they are pretty, if they have nice paper, so I have a collection. And I draw in all of them all the time, so I'm not like one of those artists who are finishing one thing and then move on to the next one. Sometimes there are very old pictures and the next one is very recent. Everything you use is very different. Like, for example, here I started trying to use gouache colors, and it felt very different from using the usual ink things that I'm used to. And also with digital, it really depends on the software and the type of brushes I use. So I feel like all of those methods, they create a different feeling. So this is why I like to change it up a little bit. And sometimes, especially for client work, when I have been drawing on the computer for days and I feel like it's all work and it doesn't feel like fun anymore, it's fun to just change up the subject and the medium and like draw on paper or like take out the colors and get all messy.
Is that yourself or is it just the hair?
A lot of my characters have red hair because I just like red hair, and that's why I haven't. So it's a little bit, goes both ways. I started drawing red-haired characters even before I had red hair, so we are just, it's a mutual connection. The girls I draw and me, we are like in one family. Things I struggle with, I like to process them in my art, but in a funny way usually, and also things I want to be maybe, like when I don't have the confidence for something, to do something, I like to draw a character who does this, have this confidence already, and then maybe it rubs off on me a little bit. So those ones were practice drawings. I was trying a new medium because a lot of my friends started using gouache colors and I never used them before. So I had to practice first, and here I was just looking at photos on Pinterest. And then I tried to do a little bit more of like my spin on things. So this one was inspired by a photo on Pinterest where I really liked the yellow background, but I drew my own character. And this one was like where I tried to be like, draw something completely free from reference and just have fun. I really like this pink color that I've found, and I was like, oh, this pink is gorgeous, and I want to draw something just with, that has a lot of this color, and I thought, something surreal maybe. What if there was like a beach scene, but instead of blue, everything is pink?
Do you have any character there that you'd like to tell us about? Or no?
Sure, like her. It's not me. This is Kohana. It's actually Ukrainian for love. She's the main character of my own comic, which is like all of this. This is my personal big project that I'm working on right now. She's based on me, but I thought like I wanted to have a character who is like struggling with the same things I struggled with at this time, and she is 29 years old and she is kind of bored with everything in life. She's like, my job is boring, and she's like dating guys she doesn't feel much for, and she's like and she really loves wine, so basically she struggles through the daily life, and then in the evening she finally can drink wine and go out and date guys, and that's kind of what makes her at least feel good. But she's really bored with all of that. By the way, it's not about me. And then at some point, a bottle of magical wine appears on her doorstep, and she can transform into a sexy superheroine, and that gives her life and energy, and she really enjoys that. So the story is about her. Here she is at the bar, choosing her next snack for the evening, which is some guy. The guy she picked up at the bar, he laughs at her because she has a like a children's TV show on her underwear. She also talks to her cat. So first I'm trying to like write a rough outline of a chapter, what is supposed to happen, but I also think a lot about funny situations that I want to have in there. And I actually usually sketch them digitally because I can transform and move things around. And then I transfer it to paper and ink it traditionally because it's more fun. I also noticed that especially for like ink art, I'm faster on paper for some reason because when I work digitally, I can like, when a line is not perfect, I can go back and erase it and undo and just start over again. So I get very perfectionistic and I try to like do all lines perfectly. But funny enough, when I draw on paper, not all lines turn out perfect because it just happens. And you can't erase it because it's ink. And I'm fine with that. I wish I could do that on the computer, just like leave this unperfect line. And I'm trying to learn that. In the end, I scan it and like I do the final editing on the computer. So the frames and the text.
Because you say it's not me, but you relate a lot to it. So.
I relate a lot to it. So I'm a little bit making fun of my own struggles at some time. So she is 29 years old and I'm already a little bit older. But I remember just this feeling around that time where I was very worried about like where my life was going. I was not happy with many things, and I was also very worried for some reason of turning 30 because there are so many weird things associated with that, especially for women, because I don't know, apparently we just start to disintegrate at this moment and fall apart to ashes, which is not true. I'm still here. But at the time when I was 29, I was very worried about that if I haven't figured out my life by 30, then I'm a failure. And I think this is what I wanted to process with this character. So when I shared very personal stories, like moments of my life, especially like really vulnerable ones where I'm like struggling with like art block or something like that, and then you share a story like that and suddenly a lot of people responded, oh my God, I feel this way, and finally I feel seen and somebody is talking about that. And like it's scary to show people that I'm not always happy and confident and have it all together, but it actually helps other people because they also feel less weird, and that makes me happy. And I kind of feel like I figured out why I do art in the first place. I mean, Teach You has been a big part of that for me, of like discovering where I want to go with my art. I came to the first one and it was mind-blowing on many levels, and since then I have to come back every year because it helps me reassess my priorities and where I am in life and what my next dreams or goals might be. Probably we all started drawing at some point as a kid, and there it was just fun. You never thought about like, is it good? Does it tell my story well enough? Is this character design original or anything like that? You just drew what you like, and at some point, of course, when you grow older, and especially as a professional artist, you have to actually reassess your work. You have to see what you're doing well, what you could do better, so you start to really think a lot about that. And I think this is what makes it a little bit painful at some point, because you have all those thoughts in your head like, if I don't draw every day, I might fall back. Everybody will be much better because they are so productive and they are practicing every day. And if I don't practice every day, I will not be as good of an artist as they are. And it took me a while to get rid of that feeling, to be able to also say, no, I don't have to draw every day. I will not lose my talent immediately, just if I take a break a little bit. This is why THU is awesome, because you can talk to other people about this feeling, and they also tell you how they conquer those feelings sometimes, and also you realize that it's not actually true that everybody is drawing every day. Like sometimes when I really don't feel inspired to draw anything, sometimes I don't draw for like a week or something, and especially when I do things that are really different from drawing, like I love to plant plants and like touch earth and get all dirty and so on. And after those moments is where I feel the best and can actually draw again, because I have been doing something completely different.
I'm going to ask you to just put that aside and to pick a page of this sketchbook and do whatever you want.
Maybe I will actually draw myself.
Do you work on a studio?
I was until 2 years ago, and then I quit and decided to become a full-time freelancer, and this is where I am now. And so mostly I'm working from home. I am searching for the type of projects where I get paid, but I also like what I'm like investing my talent in. I don't want to waste hours of my life and my skills away for something that I don't even enjoy in the end, that I feel like the world doesn't need this. I hope that at least it looks good, but I also kind of hope that it's actually like a good thing that maybe makes the world a better place, and it's not just like something that makes somebody a lot of money, but it's kind of in the end. I don't know, I feel like art can tackle like really heavy, big subjects. I hope one day to do art that can stop climate change, so. But I don't have the idea yet for that. So if you have one, tell me. A lot of comics that I'm drawing with right now, like they are also very meaningful to me because they are speaking about like important topics like worrying about yourself and not feeling like you're good enough and so on. So I feel like if I can help more people, or if we all realize that we are actually worthy and can be happy with just who we are and don't have to feel like we suck all the time, I feel like it's important. I think if all people would figure out how to be happier, we would have less problems in the world. So I think it is making the world a better place. But I also feel like there are also bigger topics that are also worrying me and that I don't have a lot in my art yet. It's haunting me a little bit. Like sometimes, you know, when you get this feeling that there are people like doctors or firefighters or like people who are actually saving lives, and you feel like, okay, I'm an artist. I'm like not saving lives here, not doing heart surgery or curing cancer or stopping the rainforest from being destroyed or something like that. So sometimes you feel a little bit useless. But actually, when I think about it, I don't think it is the case. I think art is very needed because it helps people to see things and to realize things and to just live through stories. Like a good movie or a good book can make a person think about something they didn't think about before.
Is that a sketchbook?
No, it's a THU badge.
Ah, it's a badge, okay. Because I can see. You get calmer when you're drawing.
I have to. I can't be talking all the time while I'm drawing.
Yeah.
I had a character who had very bright red hair long before I had it, and I think I kind of liked it. I have had red hair for 16 years now.
Because it really defines you in a way, right?
Yeah, it does. Maybe at some point in my life, if I feel like really different about myself and everything, maybe then I will feel like I need a new hair color now. But currently I feel like I'm becoming more myself and not different, so the red hair is still perfect. Where did this green come from? Now we have to do something. How did this happen? Let's do some green.
Happy mistakes.
Yeah. I don't know why it happened. No, it's just part of it. And also, it might work with the THU, with the badge color of this year. I'm not sure what's going on with the green here, so I'm medium happy with it, with the combination, but we'll just roll with it. Maybe let's add some trees in the background.
Do you think you're kind of a perfectionist or total perfectionist?
Somewhere in between. Like, I know that a lot of people will be seeing this video and they'll be like, why is this green there? And hopefully, I don't know. I want to tell everyone it was an accident, but probably nobody actually cares.
You could have just left the green there and then people would know it was a mistake.
True. Oh, I should have done that. Now I have to make it make sense. Damn it! You are smarter than me in this case.
Oh,
So-
it's like, I always think that people should really admit their mistakes.
But I think I'm fine with that. I will leave it be.
So, can you please sign it?
Of course. I know. Wait, I have one thing that it needs. It's out. And now I have to make a beautiful signature. Because I feel witchy, I decided that my signature should have like a pentagram in it. And it's not easy to draw because it has to be symmetrical.
Well, it has to be if you want it to be.
That's true, but sometimes it's almost perfect and on one line it's like,
I noticed that you do it really carefully.
yeah. And then the letters are just like,
Because you could just do this, right?
true. But that makes me worried to think about it.
You worry too much.
Probably, yes. That's the theme of this interview. Everybody will watch that and like, she is worrying a lot. Yeah, people listen to this interview and don't worry that much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.